Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Darrell Gunter, who is currently writing his first book. Darrell, welcome to the show.
Paul, thank you for having me on the show. Glad to be here.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did. You did.
Okay.
Darrell, yes.
Excellent. Always want to make sure. I was joking around on the last episode that I'm like the Steve Harvey of podcast hosts because we're always butchering names on it.
That was funny when he did that.
Well, I'll tell you what. You ready to get started?
Ready to get started, yes.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
You know, that is a great question. And because Gunter Media Group, I help a lot of folks get published, believe it or not, because I've been in the publishing industry my entire career, is to educate yourself about the publishing business. It's so important to understand how the publishing business has evolved and how you can make it work for you in today's terms. You know, with, as we've talked about the hybrid model, the self-published model, the traditional model, there's something for everyone. So it's important for them to really just buy a book about it and read it and understand it. And then find someone who has done it and sit down and share with them your strategy and to get their feedback as far as getting input as to what they feel is the best way for you to go.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, actually, it's writing the book. Once you have written the book, there's so many outlets that one can choose to have their books published, as you know. And I was recently at the American Library Association Midwinter meeting, which was in Seattle this past January. And I interview different book authors for my radio program, which is on Seton Hall University's WSOU.net radio, 8 a.m. on Saturday, Leadership with Darrell Gunter. Sorry for the plug. But I was at one gentleman's booth, and I have a client who wants to publish a book on cryptocurrencies. So I was talking to this one publisher, and I said, well, what genre do you focus on? He says, I focus on the genre of good content. He says, I'll publish anything. Now, you go one booth over to another publisher, and they're focused on a particular subject area. So, it's just important that you want to align yourself with a publishing house that believes in your content, or someone such as the business that you're in, Paul, where you love the content and you feel that you can help the person to get it marketed out to the public. But the first part is to write the book. And a lot of times people go, well, I got to clean it up. And I just said, you know what? That's what some book publishers do very well. They have very good editors who understand your voice, and they're able to edit the book to really make it sing. I mean, to really make it rock and roll. So, but the first part is to get your book written. And then from there, decide, where you want to have it published and how you want to publish it.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well. And obviously I know this is your first book, so I'm going to repurpose that question a little bit and ask you, what are some strategies that you anticipate using for when your book does come out?
Another great question. And I think you have to look at the marketing mix of activities. Being that I have interviewed well over 100 different authors, and I've worked with a variety of their PR firms that are focusing on them. You got to look at a marketing mix of activities that are within your budget. The good news is that with social media, with internet and the social media, there's so many different ways to reach your audience. Also, when you think about the topic that you're writing about, Well, in your marketing mix, you got to give thought to who are the groups and the organizations who would appreciate what you're written about, and how do you connect with them to get them aligned, get them aware that your book is coming out. You want to also think about different academic universities where your topic is relevant, where you want to do a book tour of universities, local radio shows. They're always looking for good content. And that is a way for you to get your message out. Again, looking at the different Rotary clubs, Lion Club, different types of events where, again, they're looking for people to come in and speak pro bono, but it's an opportunity for you to market your book. Naturally, with the website, um, and all of the different social media pages that I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure you do that. But you want to have a coherent strategy where you're creating what I like to call an even flow of information. Analogy that I always like to use in marketing is that marketing is like acupuncture. And for those who understand acupuncture and those who don't understand acupuncture, acupuncture is the art of having the body to heal itself by placing needles in different parts of the body to get an even blood flow. Well, for the marketing of your book, you need to think about who's your target market. How am I going to get to that target market? And then what are the different channels that will allow me to get to that target market? And you want to have a consistent set of activities to keep reminding people about your book content is out there. Also with Instagram, you're able in Facebook, you're able to do videos, and so you could have a weekly blog about your book. I know one gentleman, he blogged about his book. In each time he blogged, he was writing his book. And then eventually at the end of his blog period, he had written a book, and now the book was launched, and then he would write about his experience. So, the beautiful thing is that, you know, there's so many different things that you can do, but what you need to do is have that plan and work that particular plan.
And are there any specifics that that you feel that you want to use for this? Because you mentioned several different options. So, what are some of the things that you're looking to go with for your launch?
So, for example, when I look at my target audience is going to be Fortune 1000 companies. It's going to be academic universities, and what I'm going to do is that like I use constant contact. There will be an email campaign. There will be a social media campaign. I've already lined up different radio interviews around the country for that. And of course, it'll have its own web page, which will be linked to my Country Media Group page. So there's a plethora of about 6 to 8 different activities that I'll do that I think will be useful. Now, I also have to determine how I'm going to publish the book, and if I go the hybrid model, there's going to be some things that maybe the publisher will do for me, but other things that I will have to do. I do have contacts at the major publishers, and I don't want to assume that they're going to go, "Oh, Darrell, you're great. Yeah, we'll publish your book." And even then, what I found is that the marketing that the major publishers do, it's very lightweight, very lightweight.
Well, yeah, they're looking for your platform, and a lot of these traditional publishers, they're looking for people that have large platforms on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, with their email list as well. And then they're going, "Hey, let me get your book published, and then you can just market to all your fans."
Let you do all the work. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, you do all the marketing, everything else, all the stuff that you could figure out yourself, or go through a hybrid, or go through an independent where you don't have to necessarily mess around with a major publisher or a big five, because you're still going to have to do the marketing. And most authors think, "Hey, I can just write my book and everything else will take care of itself." Well, that's not how it works. No matter if your book is fiction, nonfiction, children's book, cookbook, whatever it is, you're going to be the face of that book. You are going to be expected to market and promote your book. And I think that's one of the biggest truths that comes out when you start with your first book is like you have to get out there and promote it. And
That's
that's
right.
not for everyone.
Right, exactly. Well, I am a trained Toastmaster, so my wife says there's not a microphone that I don't like. So,
Well, and I always joke around too. I always say, 'cause I have a fairly loud voice, is I'm microphone optional. A couple weeks ago, I was actually the master of ceremonies for our business over breakfast for the Chamber of Commerce here in Arlington, and we just had a blast. It was quick, it was efficient. Obviously, there's a few off the cuff comments because we like to have fun with it. But that's the biggest thing is when you're going out there and giving these speeches and just having fun and making it about the cause. That's the best publicity that you can buy because it's going to promote you, yourself, your brand, your business, and most importantly, your book. And it's just going out there and being yourself and just being comfortable in that skin.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
And of course, you mentioned something very near and dear to my heart. You mentioned Rotary clubs. I'm a very proud Rotarian myself, and I will tell you one of the best strategies is to go out there, even if you're not a Rotarian, and speak at the clubs. Do your internet research, find out the clubs in your area. In Arlington, I think we have 6 different Rotary clubs where you can go out there and speak all across the area, or even if you're traveling. I'm going to be in Maui in April, and I've already reached out to the Kihei Rotary Club that's over there just so I can come out and meet those guys and hang out with them. So it's just one of
Oh,
those things where you have to network and build those relationships. And it's one of the easiest ways to promote your book where the only investment that you're going to have is just a little bit of time to do it.
that is such a great suggestion because oftentimes I find myself in different parts of the world
Mm-hmm.
with time on my hands. And so for you to find the local Chamber of Commerce or the Rotary Club and you have a particular specialty, they go, oh yeah, we have this gentleman from Philadelphia area talking about blockchain or semantic search
Yep.
or AI. Yes,
Yeah, so it's just such a great strategy. But again, you have to be comfortable with doing that. You and I are fairly comfortable going out there and giving talks. It's not always for everyone, but even for those that are a little introverted, a little bit on the quiet side, this is one of the best opportunities that you can go out and market your book when just get out your comfort zone a little bit.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Well, let's talk about your favorite book. So, what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Can I have two?
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, the Bible. Um, the Bible just has so much different information to help you to self-reflect and self-identify and to address issues that you may have going on in your life. And I have found that I'm a raised Baptist, so um, every day I'm just thankful to be able to have the Bible there to be that source of knowledge and energy and reflection. The other book that on the business side, away from the spiritual side, is The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Mm.
And the lesson there is that, you know, you really want to understand your opponent and understand yourself. And if you can do that, you'll be victorious in every battle. And in order to do that, you really have to be honest with yourself. And when you're able to do that and understand who you're dealing with, you know the answer to any decision. I have a particular crossroad that I'm at. Well, I guess technically I'm not at the crossroad because I've already taken a decision, and I have a meeting tomorrow night with this gentleman. He wants me to do something that my investors, I'm not even going to present to my investors, simply because I know it's not in their best interest, and it's not in their best interest. It's not in my best interest. So he wants to see if he could convince me. There's no convincing because understand his character. I understand his strengths, his weaknesses. I understand what his objective is. And unfortunately, it conflicts with my objective. And that is something that I've learned from The Art of War through Sun Tzu.
Yeah, to prepare for every contingency.
That's right. And be ready to walk away.
And the fact that most battles are already won and lost before you even step on the battlefield.
That is correct. That is correct.
So one of my
That is
favorite books.
correct.
So I had a rush of different passages from that book. That's one thing I recommend to our listeners. If you want to check out one of the all-time greatest books, I mean, The Art of War is thousands of years old. It stands through the test of time. So I highly recommend checking it out. You could even do a Google search and find a lot of the information online. But it truly is a great book that you can take for lessons, like the Bible, for life and for business and everything else, and it still applies thousands of years later.
Yep. Yep.
Well, for our final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Oh, I have two, if I may.
Of course.
From my mom, all new brooms sweep good. And from my dad, a man's word is his bond.
Mm-hmm.
And what my mom means by that, all new brooms sweep good, is that sometimes, something or someone comes into our life and we get very excited about it. And the question is, a week from now, a day from now, a week from now, a month from now, are you still excited about that? And because the adage is that when you have a new broom, a bristle broom, it sweeps real good. But, after a couple of years, the bristles have worn away, and how good is it sweeping for you? And then, of course, with my father, who I lost when I was 13 because he was 74, we would have discussions, deep discussions about life. And he would always say, son, your word is your bond. And that's something that I live by. So when I give my word to someone, they have it. Even though I've seen people give me their word and they have not held their end of the bargain.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been a tough lesson for me to realize that everyone lives by their own principles. And everyone is not like Darrell W. Gunter.
Yeah, and that was a hard lesson for me to learn too. I to learn it in my 20s, 30s, even now in my 40s, is that you have to have your own code because not everyone's going to follow it. You got to follow your own code. And I'm the same way. My word is my bond. My handshake is like a written contract. And unfortunately, not everyone's like that. And I had to learn some hard business lessons over the years that you do have to have contracts and you have to protect yourself, because if you don't, then you're going to be in for some hard lessons.
That's right. That's right. And Maya Angelou has always said, when people show you who they are, believe what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Believe what you see. I had another situation just recently where we had verbal agreement many times over, recorded the agreement and video, and then I sent the agreements out, and the agreements have not been signed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a relationship I've been working on for 2 years. And I just said, and my lawyer said to me, he said, I'm really disappointed, because he was working with, between the two parties. I said, yeah, I'm disappointed as well, but better now than later.
Yeah, and I refer to those type of situations. In fact, Devin is my VP of operations. She likes to use the word, because she's younger, but she likes to use the word being ghosted or ghost. So we'll always joke around with referring to clients that just magically disappear as ghosts. But
right.
Yeah, but I tell her, it's like, this is a good thing, because at least we don't have a contract with them. At least we're not having to deal with them. Just usually prospective clients who we'll talk with, and they just magically disappear. They're all in for everything. They can't wait to get started. And then something happens in their mind where they just suddenly disappear. But as I explained to her, at least we know now. Because just imagine if we took that person on, could you imagine all the drama and issues that we would have? Because, I don't do drama. I vet all of my clients before we even go forward. And if we end up getting to a point where we want to do a deal, we're going to be very clear about the process, because we will not work with those types of people. We're not going to work with ghosts, because it's not going to be worth our time. If we're having trouble getting hold of them, then what's going to happen in the future when we're actually trying to get their book done for them?
That's right. Something I say to the young folks in my family when they're thinking about getting married, And I just said, you just need to understand that marriage magnifies what you have.
Hmm.
So if you have a great friendship relationship, it'll magnify that. But if you two are still working through some issues and you have some things that need to be worked out, it's going to magnify that. So you want to make sure that you go in with the best situation possible.
Absolutely. Well, Darrell, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show today. What is the best way for people to find you online?
So you can find me online at guntermediagroup.com, also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram and Twitter. And when folks go to the website, just want to let you know that most likely by April 1st at the latest, our new website will be launched, which we're very excited about. And again, 973-454-3475. I'm global, so I'm always reachable.
Well, Darrell, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Paul, it has been a real pleasure. Thank you for this time, and I look forward to listening to more of your great podcasts. You're doing a great service, sir.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.